musters a smile for his nostalgic tale. Never coming near what he wanted to say, only to realize it never really was. She had a place in his life. He never made her think twice. As she rises to her apology, anybody else would surely know. He's watching her go. What a fool believes he sees. The wise man has the power to reason away what he sees to be. It's always better than nothing, and nothing at all. Keep sending him somewhere back in the long ago, where he can still believe there's a place in her life. Someday, somewhere, she will return. She had a place in his life. He never made her think twice. As she rises to her apology, anybody else would surely know. He's watching her go. What a fool believes he sees. The wise man has the power to reason away what he sees. Love can come and love can go. I can't go. It's always better than nothing. Who got the power and nothing at all? Oh, now, what a fool believes. I believe she's never gone away. The wise man has the power
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 4 minutes past the hour on this 26th day of June. Welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told. Yours truly, Joe Dupree, in the building from 100 BLK, the Black Station, along with my girl, Jax. There she is right there. Jax. She's the life strategist, the art therapist, the speaker, the author, our brother from another mother, Brother Fatim from the Open Line online on WBLS 1075 in New York City, and keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton. Good morning, family. How y'all doing this morning?
What up? How you
What
doing?
up? I'm doing just peachy keen. Good morning. It is the day before Bedlam, and I'm just doing peachy keen. I'm doing peachy keen. How you doing this?
Right?
Wait a minute, Brother Fatim. How you doing this morning?
I had a moment this morning. I was telling Jax, I put on a video of Alita Adams get here. Facebook blocked it. They blocked it just now. Yeah, they blocked it. So no, I'm good around it. Oh, I found the Johnny Carson. Block this one. I want to see y'all block this live version. You can't block the live version. But they did that. But I had a moment. I teared up this morning because, my late wife, Hanifa, would always say that song reminded her of me, no matter what I was doing. If she paged me with a code, emergency code, or whatever she was going through in the hospital, she'd say, get here, I got there. And, and that was one of the first songs in our video music montage at her service in New York. But I'm dragging a little bit this morning, Joe, a little bit, Jack. So let me take a little bit sip of my 1865 gin and juice. And I need a little theme music like you came on with your thing yesterday. So I need
Master Hunter Pete, Depot, he a freak dope man, damn color, covered lamb. Tell him please, bro, never knew to cross, he walk around like Jesus. So what's up with these Johnny you? Trying to see Compton, the industry can hate me. Marlon, mama, how many options you really got? How many?
They're not like us. They're not like us. I have to get my day started right. I'm good. Now I can ring this bell right.
That's why I had to take y'all back to some Doobie Brothers. What a Fool Believes. As we get ready for Bedlam, what a fool believes. Good morning to everybody in the chat. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me ring the bell. Let me give a round of applause. Today may be your birthday, may be your anniversary, may be your special day. So I ring that bell for you, and I got to say a special happy birthday shout out to Kizzy Shelvin. Kizzy Shelvin out there. I know she's celebrating her birthday today. Yeah, Kizzy. That's her name, Kizzy, and she good people. I love Kizzy. I love her. I love her husband. Look, and Douglas Guidry's done started with the ish this morning. The 10 Commandments should be displayed in all our homes, including mine. Yeah, I'm surprised they ain't passed that law.
Right?
I'm surprised. Right. Okay, so what you gonna do when they say do certain things in your house? See, understand this. When you pass certain laws, those laws are in place with the people that are in power are in place. So let's just say let's say somebody who don't have your same philosophy, your same mindset gets in the office and they say, well, this law got passed. I want everybody to have a pink ledger of the of everything Pride Month displayed in their house. Y'all gonna raise hell.
Douglas Guidry trying to be some Cialis or Viagra today and get a rise out of me, but it ain't gonna work today.
All right.
Bedlam starts tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is the debate. Yes, family. We are one day from the first presidential debate. They have never had a presidential debate this far out. And that lets you know Bedlam starts tomorrow.
That's right. But you know what, Joe, back to what you were just saying, they do tell us pretty much some of what we can do in our homes, right? Because we can't discipline our kids like how kids was disciplined back in the day. So they threaten us with how they'll handle it in CPS or Child Protective Services, DIFAS, DCP&P, whatever you want to call it. They will come into your home even if you discipline your children in a way that they deem as inappropriate. Now they say you could spank your child, but you got to spank them on the meaty part of their body. Should you be giving them body shots and all this crazy stuff? Absolutely not. Should you abuse your children? Absolutely not. but we should still have reign as parents to discipline our children in such a way that's still according to scripture, but still according to what is best for that child, but not abusing them. That's never
17-year-old son. I don't have a son, but hyperly, talking, 17-year-old son playing football. Dad, I ain't listening to you. I'm going outside. I'm going to go get a belt and spank him on the meaty part of his body.
Yeah, he needs some body shot.
Body shot.
Body
shot. Tell them to come in the house and get me. Body shot. You know what I'm saying is, you're right. You can't abuse folks, and I always stretch the envelope. But it comes a time. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Joe's a law enforcement officer, and Joe does things his way. I've seen, like I said, I had a situation with my younger daughter, and like I said, the police came, said they couldn't do nothing, but they saw the love and concern we had for our child, so they decided to stick around and help. And when my daughter came to the house, the cop pulled me to the side and he said, "Listen, I'm not going to because I told him you can't disrespect my child." But he said, "I'm going to be hard verbally." Me and my wife agreed. We agreed. You understand? And I've been around some police officers where the parents have been taken because they had to take them, but they told the parents, "We really don't want to take you because honestly, you might be saving your child's life." There's a video out there on Facebook. I don't know if it was shared amongst y'all, but it was shared where this father caught his son, a minor, doing this gang stuff or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And you saw that? And he had the belt in his hand and he embarrassed him.
Oh yeah.
And people in the chat said that somebody said, "Oh, I'm glad my parents didn't embarrass me. My mother embarrassed me. She whipped me my ass on the bus, on the school."
Church.
So I don't want to hear about embarrassment. That man might have saved his child's life. Right. So I get tired of telling you. You're right, Jack. You're not going to, if I'm abusing my child is one thing. You're not going to come in my house and do that. That's why I told you yesterday, you ain't going to get a rise out of me, Gidry. You open the door for other things when you start this bull crap. You start this bull crap and then you open the door for other things to come down. And then you want to pout when you say, "You can't do that." Well, you allowed it before when it happened before.
Yeah. You know what, Fatine and Joe? It ain't enough of this nowadays. Enough of that.
No.
Kids are standing and look at their parent like, "Okay, what?"
Wait,
back in the day, it was all this.
Wait 1 minute. So since and now I'm gonna make some folks. I'm gonna be Cialis and Viagra, Brother Gidry, because last time I checked, see, we got a big problem. Two words, we try to mix them up, especially folks who are of the conservative persuasion. You try to mix up the word morality with the word legal. Let me give you something, Brother Gidry. Lynching was legal in the United States of America. Doesn't mean that it was that it was morally right. Slavery was legal in the United States of America, but it doesn't mean it was morally right. So with them saying we need this, since you put back, this country needs to turn back to God. If they turn back to some of the old laws, what you gonna do if they bring back lynching, Brother Gidry? What you gonna do if they bring back slavery? Because those were legal. They were legal. And hold up, brother Eddie Barnett. Let us not try to be deceptive here. The individuals back then that were considered to be quote unquote Democrats are today's Republicans. So let us not see. I'm gonna get a rise out of both of y'all today, because y'all better start standing on facts instead of all this fiction. Because Strom Thurmond would have been today a far right Republican. Period. Strom Thurmond would have been a far right Republican. He would have been a Marjorie Taylor Greene. He would have been a John Cotton. He would have been a far right Republican. Period. Don't come at me with this. See, I don't come on here like other folks and try to tell you my background, where I've been, what I've done, or the degrees that are on my wall. But don't play with me today, because we're getting ready to go into Bedlam tomorrow.
I thought we were gonna talk baseball, man. We had a Subway
We ain't
Series. Why
talking
are we
no-
talking politics,
we
man?
ain't-
I got my damn Mets shirt. We spanked the Yankees' ass last night. You come up here starting rough riding, man. You DMX already, man. Let you DMX. We ain't start. We didn't even talk about the U.S. Surgeon General. What's his name? Murthy declaring gun violence a public health crisis in America. You know, I hate to say it. That I keep saying Trump and Biden, and especially Trump, sucks the air out of the room. I think that it's not going to be bedlam tomorrow. What's going to happen? I think we need to talk about what's some of the things that we are looking for tomorrow. And some of the optics is how.
Yeah, this is funny. Hold up. I got to post this one. No, brother Eddie Barnett. See, once again, your Viagra. I got to say it, though.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Because I hate when you. Go ahead.
I'm a part of the Do Right Party because I let you do the same thing, Brother Fatine. When you
that's true. That's true.
So I'm a part of the Do Right Party. And guess what? You can do right and be a Republican. You can do right and be a Democrat. But at the end of the day, I need you to do right and do right by my people. If you do right and do right by my people, I am behind you. But if you do wrong and you do wrong to my people, I am totally against you. And I could care less if you are a Democrat, an independent, or a Republican, because Joe is a part of the Do Right Party. And I want you to do right, not only by me, but by all my people. When you do that, I could care less if you're Republican, Democrat, or whoever. You are then a part of my tribe, my family, because your policies, and not just what you say, but your policies does right by me and my people. And when you do right by me and my people, you are a part of my tribe. You are a part of the people that I will promote and say, this is the person you need to vote for. When you do not, I tell people, leave you alone because you mean us no good. Period.
All right. So let me get back to this here, because this is the important part. We can do all this cliche stuff, but we got to talk about what we expect and what we're looking for. So there's a New York Times poll that came out yesterday that reveals a neck-and-neck contest between Biden and Trump. Nationally, both candidates are tied at 46%. 46%. So what are you looking for? Because if we're having a debate on issues, what are we looking for here? We can always say, oh, Donald Trump got convicted. He is the Republican nominee, and Biden, we're looking at his optics. He is the Democratic nominee. So what are we looking for tomorrow? We're looking for to see who can score on the facts, who can present their record the best. Everybody's going to be looking at Biden to see if he can stand up there and hold his own verbally against Donald Trump. Because remember, Donald Trump he's not a great debater. He's not a great debater. He's not really prepping. He's not doing a great job of prepping. And he likes to take things and turn it around. There's no audience there, so he cannot feed off the audience. Remember, you can feed off the audience when you say, look, cliche-ish things, but when it comes down to facts and records, so that's one of the things we're looking at. Immigration is going to be on the table. Immigration, unemployment is going to be on the table. Jobs. A lot of these issues are going to be on the table, and a lot of people are want to know moving forward. You can try to put inflation. Trump can try to put inflation on the table, but unfortunately, inflation where it was 6 to 8 months ago is not there now. The job report, Trump does not have the kind of jobs report that Biden has. He just doesn't have that. Biden has a much better jobs report. More, you understand? So this is where we're looking to see their performance. If Biden doesn't perform well, then the Democrats have a real serious question. Do they go to the Democratic convention and nominate him as that candidate to move forward in there? This can be a monkey wrench, And if Donald Trump doesn't do good on the heels of 34 being convicted of 34 felony counts, it's 34, right? And 34, and he has to be sentenced. Coming up next month. Then the Republicans can lose some type of steam. They can try to play it as they want to. And then we also have to look at it. It looks like And does this matter if Donald Trump picks a black vice president candidate? If he does that make a difference to you out there? If he picks Donaldson or if he picks Tim Scott, does that make a
or Ben Carson
or Ben Carson, right? Or Ben Carson. Well, if he picks Ben Carson, that he definitely shoots himself in the foot there, because Ben Carson has shown when he was out there, he was the damn fool. So he was a great surgeon. He was a great brain surgeon, and he did that. That's fine. But you can't live on that laurels of governing this country at the end of the day. And I would love to see Ben Carson debate Kamala Harris. I tell you who will give Kamala Harris a hard time. It will not be Tim Scott. It will be Donaldson. He will give her a challenge. But if you standing on record, Donaldson can't stand on Trump's record against Kamala Harris standing on Biden, but she has a much better record to stand on there.
So you're still taking out the X factor, and Donald Trump is a wild card, and everybody here is talking like normal folks, and I don't talk like normal folks when it comes to Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is not a normal person. He is a wild card, and you keep forgetting about Nikki Haley. And I keep telling folks, one way.
I don't keep forgetting about Nikki Haley. I thought about it, but that's not what it looks like he's going to pick, though.
Yeah. To the normal person, it doesn't look like that's who he's going to pick. But at the end of the day, you don't know that, because at the end of the day, let's just be real. The analytics say the reason he lost the last time was because of the woman and the three factors that made Donald Trump lose the last time: the Latino, the African American, and the woman vote.
Right. But Donald Trump is not the wild card. Nikki Haley's the wild card. And I said that weeks ago on this show. I said that if he was smart, but he's not. I said this a few weeks ago, that if he was smart, he would pick Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley, if she wouldn't have resigned from the UN position and didn't run against him, that, because you got to realize there's tension here, but now she backed him to set the stage for her. If he picks Nikki Haley, now he has a better chance of winning, because the country probably, especially white women and white men, will be more comfortable with a Nikki Haley taking over for Donald Trump than a Kamala Harris taking over for Joe Biden.
Gotta be. And the propaganda machine is out there in full effect, family. So good morning. Good morning. It is the 26th day of June, 22 minutes past the hour. It is the day before the presidential debate. This is the on record, the earliest a presidential debate has been held for the soul and the heartbeat of this country. There is a lot going on the world stage. If you ain't watching what's going on right now in Kenya, you're not. Listen, I'm going to do it. You know, Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for him, you're not black. If you're not watching what's going on in Kenya right now.
He said that last election. He didn't say it this election.
Now, I know he said it last election, but he did say it. So
you know,
listen, I call out folks no matter who they are, because like I said, I'm about to do right party. If you're not paying attention to what's going on in Kenya right now, shame on you. Shame on you. All bedlam is breaking out.
Not only in Kenya, in Sudan.
Right. Yeah. If you're not paying attention to what's going on in the diaspora of the continent of Africa, where we all came from, come on, family, you got to pay attention, because right now it's a lot of crazy that's breaking loose. I know we talk a lot about Israel and what's going on in Gaza, but you know, there's a lot going on throughout this world, and understanding a global economy, a global military, and military strength, family, we got to pay attention. You've got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. And, you know, at the end of the day, here's what I want to tell you, what I always used to say. I said this when I did my morning show. I said this since folks know me, since I was old enough to vote. Your vote is your voice. And your voice has power. I can't tell you who to vote for, but I can tell you this: you need to get engaged, you need to get involved, you need to get registered, you need to find out the candidate that speaks to you and your your values and morals, and you need to go vote. Period.
And let me just say this, Sister Jax, I know you're coming in. Is Joe said it twice that this is the earliest debate. The reason why this is the earliest debate, there's a reason why this is the earliest debate. It's not because it's a special election. No, it's not that. There's a reason why this is the earliest debate is because this is the earliest that you have the nominee with the delegates there. You got to realize there used to be a full stage. Donald Trump wiped out his stage, and there was no real Democratic strong candidates going against Biden. So they got those delegates much more earlier. That's why this debate is early. It's not because this is some kind of special big election. It's just that you got the delegates there. You know who the candidates are. So now you put in place these debates and you give room for them to do the campaign and do what they need to do. So that's why this is the earliest debate. Sister Jax.
And you know what, to go back to what Joe was saying, also about the U.S. and about Africa, a lot of people don't realize that the United States has a host of military bases in Africa, right? So there are, I think, about 29, if not more, military bases in Africa. So U.S. military bases. So now when you dial back and pull the layers back, you got to think about it. Why so? So it goes back to also what we were watching yesterday on the video when the guy was saying, why can't we have one government, one currency, one law, all of that stuff, for Africa, but it's still so divided, and the U.S. has their little filthy hands up in everything. So,
why hands got to be? Hold it. I was stationed at three of those bases in Africa.
Hands are because we destabilize countries because our hands are dirty with blood on them because we destabilize countries. That's why we got blood on our hands, because we destabilize countries. We have gone in. The reason why the border is the way it is today, because we destabilized Central America. We went in there and tried to put puppet governments in there. And if we couldn't put puppet governments in there, we went in there and we caused corruption. Our hands are filled with blood. I don't care if I'm American. I call a spade, like Joe said, I call it like it is. I call it like it is. We destabilize countries, and that's why we're reaping the repercussions, not the benefits, the repercussions of destabilizing Central America. And that's why people are flooding their countries, because there's bedlam in their countries because of America and other countries meddling in their business.
That's right. And America, obviously, like we are not capable of truly sustaining ourselves if we blocked ourselves off from the entire world. America does not have enough resources or anything to sustain and for the people to live. But you go over to a beautiful continent such as Africa, there's everything, all the minerals, the jewels, the oil, like everything we need to survive is right there. And our people indigenously knew how to cultivate the land to grow and with the crops and, what we needed. They understood how the moon works and when to plant and when to harvest. Like they understood all of that stuff, so America couldn't survive on its own. That's why they have to rape and pillage every damn where else around the world, because America's a doggone mess.
Exactly. One of the things, and if you saw 60 Minutes this Sunday, just to go back a little bit, one of the biggest mining areas right now seems to be the ocean bed. And they have made a treaty that America is not a part of. To be exact, China is a part of it, where you can mine the ocean beds. And there are major companies, to be exact, the only company in America that's maybe even a part of this, I think, is Lockheed Martin. Oh, yeah. And Lockheed Martin cannot do anything until, of course, once again, the people that you put in office that agree to this, because it made it very clear on 60 Minutes that the reason why America is not a part of the NATO treaty to begin exploring the rich minerals that are at the ocean bed is because Republicans are saying they don't want to be a part of the treaty. They don't want to be a part of the treaty.
Because they want the greed. The greed is because they feel that they can bogart. They feel that if they're not part of it, then anything that they decide to do on their own, we got the might and the power, and we can bully anybody. And that's one of the things there.
Yeah. And you know what? No, I was going to say, even at one point, America did have a lot of the resources and the things that we needed, when our native people were here, but once again, once those filthy little hands come into play and start, just taking over everything and monopolizing the whole area and pulling all the resources for gain, then, our country becomes depleted, so. Go ahead.
Y'all said something yesterday, and I'm gonna just read this real quick. 2 comments, but y'all said this yesterday, but we were going off, so I couldn't get to it. Douglas Guidry said, as Minister Farrakhan said, how dare America speak of a moral compass? And Eddie Bonnet comes back and says, I agree with that, Fatine. We have messed up other countries bad. And, you know, the reason why I read them, because we can read their comments that we disagree. We got to read their, at least I agree with both of their comments there. Yesterday, you guys said something. I can't remember exactly. It was more you, Joe, but it's the concept. And I've attacked this before. And Sister Jax, I've said this before, that a lot of times we like to use the scriptures, you know, and I talked more about the scriptures yesterday. The reason why I don't talk a lot about it, because I understand that if you're going to go God's way, because it says it right there, you can't serve 2 masters.
Amen.
You can't be of this world and then be of God's world.
Mhm.
But all 3 of us are of this world.
Mhm.
That's why I don't talk a lot, because I've been part of a group that honestly separated from this. They had their own, not their own currency, but they separated. They had their own businesses. They did this thing, but you had to be part of their group. You understand? And my thing is, the reason why a lot of times we catch hell, because we are playing dual roles. We're playing dual roles. We try to do good by our heart and try to say this is godly, but we're still of the world. And then when we get affected by the world, we want to bitch and moan. See, that's the problem. If you are going to do it the way God said to do it, and as you quote out that Bible, Jack, I don't say much, but you got to separate from this here, from this beast.
That's
because
right.
when the judgment comes down, it ain't going to be about you riding the damn fence. Oh, no, you was part of this world. If you're going to do it God's way, then you got to separate. I hate to say it as harsh as it is. You all might say, well, Fatine, that's not reality. Well, you know what?
But it is.
Right? But that's
But
what,
it is.
that's
But
what
it
the
is.
Lord from God said. So when you catch hell, it's because you're dibbling and dabbling on both sides of the damn fence. And that's the problem. I don't do that too much because I don't want to seem like I'm coming down on my team, because I'm in the same way. I'm the same way. I have not separated. That's why I don't quote a lot. But I'm just telling you, you talk about the 10 commandments and living God's way, but you're part of a demonic system. You're part of a demonic system here. You can't serve 2 masters, but you're trying to, and that's why we have so much bedlam and confusion.
Okay, so Brother Fatime, let's just be honest about it, because I knew it was going to happen. Brother Guidry puts it up in here, and now let me put that in there so you can see it. Brother Guidry said, Brother Fatime, you want to talk God, but you're bucking against the 10 commandments in the schools. Okay,
that's correct.
So hold on. Understand that. Okay.
He sent it to me.
Okay.
Yeah, damn right. I want to say that.
Okay. So understand this, family. The 10 commandments is the 10 commandments, be it they're in school or not in school. The 10 commandments are the 10 commandments, be it that they're in your house or they're not in your house. The 10 commandments are what they are, regardless if you post them or if you don't post them. Those are God's 10 commandments that was given to Moses to deliver to his people. It is what it is, regardless if you post it or if you don't post it. So then here's where, within all the cloud of the chaos, nobody wants to talk about this one little word. Why? See, because those of us who are somewhat educated, but might play like we not somewhat educated, understand dogmatic law. Dogmatic law say if you do it on this side, you got to do it on this side. So sometimes things get put into law just to say we did it, because if you did it on this side, you got to do it on this side. You cannot discriminate with law. Law is supposed to be blind, supposed to be. So in other words, if you say we can post the 10 commandments at this public venue, then you can begin to inundate that posting. And it's not so much as the 10 commandments. When you can dictate a document, regardless of what that document is, to be posted in a public venue, now you have power, because now you're able to say, I like this document, let's post it, but I don't like this document, let's not post it. That's why, like it, leave it, or love it, if this is supposed to be the country of religious freedom, why is it not that, and Brother Fatim brought it up in court, but why is it that in most courts they don't say, okay, we got all the books of belief, which one do you want to swear up on?
Mhm.
They don't.
I gotta attack this. So anybody, and we say this, why don't you get this through your skull? Why don't you get this through Joe as a boy? He said, Joe, as a born again Christian, you don't support God's law being placed in school. Eddie, everybody ain't no damn Christian.
So
God didn't say America is going to be Christ-like. This is America and we are Christians. Where do you get this from?
Okay.
Why do you feel that because you're a Christian, you're above other people, that you can put your belief or your faith over other people's faith in a school? You cannot do that. Let me finish, Joe. You can't do that. And we explained this to you before about civil and human rights laws. That's why I said you don't understand. That's why some people come at Reverend Sharpton and say, well, you support LGBTQ. You support this. He said it's not about me supporting it. It's that my belief, I can't oppose my belief over other people, just like somebody else said they're Muslim or Hindu and they come into power and want to push their religious belief over us. You can't do that. Why don't you get that through your damn thick skull?
So let me answer to Brother Eddie Barnett. I'm glad he said that. And let me
I'm not.
I am. I'm very glad because I can very.
Because he came at me and said about me that I want to talk God. Wait, you cut me. Wait, let me finish. Because he came to me, Joe. He came at me and said, "Do you want to talk God?" But I'm against the putting the Ten Commandments.
That was Douglas
Guidry. And I said before that there was a better way, Brother Guidry, to do that as an inclusive way of coming up with 10 points and not using the Bible, because that's legally, it cannot be done. That's why the ACLU is suing. You got the separation of state and religion. So you can't do that. You got to understand that, but you can still put in 10 principles that's kind of based around that, that's more inclusive, that include the people that go to these schools. Why do you don't get that?
Okay, so as
all right, Joe, because he addressed you too.
Since it was directed toward me, it says, Joe, in big bold letter, as a born again Christian, you don't support God's law being placed in school. I didn't say that. Here's what I did say though. And let's make it clear what I said. I don't, as God doesn't. I don't, as God, as the supreme architect, as the creator of heaven and earth. God says you have a choice. God says, as I made you man and woman, I gave you choice. God said, I don't demand, I made you choice. I gave you choice. Here's what I personally would say. Posting God's law in a school where kids can't read God's law because half of them can't read, to have them to see it but can't read it, I have a problem. To have them not to understand and place that law in their heart where they physical being says, I would love to obey these laws, I have a problem. Because just posting it is just like posting a stop sign. Everybody don't stop at the stop sign. A lot of folks run the stop sign and they cause accidents. I would rather for us to institute these values into our children, the values of the 10 commandments, posting it on the wall and instilling it in them that they would want to follow it and do right and do what God's law say is two different things. Because a lot of stuff gets posted on the wall that are never read and never followed. And I have a problem when, once again, the reason we're talking about this is because the people in power who were elected, not by a majority of the people, because a majority of the people in the state of Louisiana didn't go to vote, especially a majority of the Black folks. Gary Chambers already gave y'all the numbers. So at the end of the day, the folks who went to vote voted people into power who now have the power to change the law. So what's going to happen when folk get voted into power that don't have your same philosophy? Are you going to stand there and say the same thing? And for some of you to call yourself conservative Republicans stand on the Constitution. And the Constitution makes it very clear there should be a separation between church, religion, and state. So all of a sudden now y'all forgot that y'all conservative Republicans? Because Republicans who are very conservative stand boldly on the Constitution. Or is it we stand on the Constitution when the Constitution is doing what we want it to do? I'm just asking. Maybe y'all could answer that question.
Mm. Good question. And you know what? And I love what you're saying. I love what you're saying too, Brother Fatin. So we have to, as we're living our life in this world, we have to recognize, like scripture says, like we are in this world, right? But we're not of this world. So we can't conform to the ways of the world. It's certain things naturally because we have laws of the land that we're going to still have to abide by legally that we're going to have to do. But otherwise we have to be okay with trying to pull away and separate yourself. Like how can two walk together lest they agree? Right. So you have to try to find your own tribe, find your own circle, follow the Most High. And it comes with a lot of criticism. I know when I walked away from, Christianity after being born and raised and being in Christianity my entire life, when I really walked away and said, you know what, it's time for me to really follow God's laws to the best of my ability and be an even better person, a better woman, a better wife, a better mom, a better, daughter, friend, a better citizen, a better follower of Christ. It's going to be a lonely walk. But you have to be okay with it being a lonely walk because everybody doesn't understand it and everybody is not meant to understand it. It's my walk. It's my relationship with God. Because when judgment day comes, I can't stand there with my mom, my dad, my brother, my kids vouching, for me. My works have to speak for itself. So although, yes, we are all in this world, but we don't have to be, of this world. We don't have to take on the attributes of this world and go along with all the craziness and the negative stuff. You just have to try to remove yourself, from it as best you can, but you still got to survive because naturally we're a part of this system,
Let me ask a question. I'm going to throw it to Brother Fatin.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just me speaking out loud. I'm asking a question. Has any organization that is connected to the Black community went to the Democratic or the Republican Party and said, look, there are 5 things. We have 5 things we need you to do in our communities in order for you to garner our support in this up and coming election. There are 5 things we need done. This is our 5-point plan. This is our 5-point plan. And if you will commit in writing that you will perform these 5 things within your first, let's say 2 years in office, we will stand behind you and support you. That, once again, family, a lot of this.
You asked the question. What's your question? You asked the question.
That's the question.
Let me answer it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, yes, it's not a 5-point plan. It's more than that. And the National Urban League, I'll just call them out. The National Urban League has done that. They put out a report every year, headed up by Mark Morial, who's the president and CEO of the National Urban League.
State of Black
America.
We're going to see Mark in New Orleans. I forgot to tell you that.
Yeah, and State of Black America. They put out that every year, the State of Black America. And as I've known before, that's why I said, remember, Trump would not meet with Black leadership. He was willing to meet with Reverend Sharpton. Reverend Sharpton said, there's no way that I'm going to have a meeting alone with you because you're not going to come out that meeting and say one thing and I say another thing. You're going to meet with the civil rights organizations apparatus because we are moving as one. Remember, we talked about one? We're moving as one. These organizations, not only Sharpton in the Urban League, but other organizations came together as one and brought their issues. Donald Trump wouldn't meet. The Democratic Party has met with them to deal with that. You got to realize Biden was one of the only candidates that put out a plan for Black America. Remember, he put out a plan for Black America. At the same time, you got to realize Ice Cube came out and he put out a plan for Black America as well. But that plan that Biden put out with Black America was with Biden's administration, not his administration as a president, but his campaign administration, well, not administration, but team worked together with those groups, Joe. So they did do that to put out that plan, which was on his website, that what his plan, and he talked about what he was going to do for the Black community. And a lot of those things you can check off that he did. And some of the things that he ran into the roadblock to go into law because of the House and the Senate. But that's why when he talked about what happened with the George Floyd, he had to put an executive order. The executive order is not law because once a president leaves, the next president comes in, they can change that executive order or put in their own executive order. True. So yes, they have done that. Yes.
So the reason I say that is I got a message from Brother Barnett. It was about Project 2025. And his message says, and I quote, "Bro, Project 2025 protects you. How? Because it eliminates democratic bureaucracy. Do your research." Brother Barnett, Project 2025, if you read that full document, and I am still reading it, I haven't finished. I haven't finished reading.
He get the Stephen Award for that.
There's
Jesus
nothing.
Christ.
There's nothing in Project 2025 that is in any shape, form, or fashion a help to Black and brown folks.
I gotta call Jamie Foxx. I need him to come on here as Django. I need him to come on here as Django. I need him to ride again. I need him to ride again. I need him to ride again. I need him to go to Louisiana. I need him to go.
No. So Brother Eddie,
I need Django. We need the whips. We need to get some of these people and corral them up.
Watch this.
We need to corral their asses up.
Okay, so Brother Eddie asked this question, and once again, let me show you. It's the shell game they play in conservatism. In the Republican Party, especially in conservatism, he says, "So you like big government?" No, I don't. But it appears like Republicans do, because it is the government that put in the law about the 10 Commandments. It was government that began. See, Republicans like big government when big government serves their purpose. When it's not serving their purpose, the first thing they say is, like, if it's affirmative action, if it's Roe v. Wade, if it's stuff to help the Black community, if it's to feed Black families or Black and brown families or to help the impoverished, no, all of a sudden we don't want big government, because as you know, there is a lot of governmental stuff that our new governor has turned down because it doesn't serve his purpose. But if it serves his purpose, he wants big government. So stop that. Republicans want big government. It is the Republicans who is using the governmental arm to change laws to work government to their liking. So don't talk to me. Do I like big government? The question is, does your party like big government? Because you're the one changing all the laws. I digress.
I ain't got nothing to say. I'm texting Jamie Foxx. I need Django to ride again. I'm riding with Django. I'm riding with Django.
Like you said, Joe, I mean, that manifesto is almost, about 1,000 pages. So it's a lot to go through. So if you're just glossing over it and just, hearing certain things, you might think, that it's conducive and helpful to our people. But as you dig deeper and truly read that manifesto, you'll see that, the stuff they're trying to cut out and dismantle is not a benefit to our people, because it's stuff that our people utilize, that we need. It impacts our educational system. It impacts the resources that our children are provided in school, and so much more. Hold on, y'all.
This is a damn fascist government. I mean, Trump is a fascist. These Republicans are fascists, and ain't no way in hell I'm going to stand there and vote for them. And Joe saying, the Republican Party is a fascist party because look how they vote, look how they move. So I call a spade. Joe said, "Well, I'm not," and that's Joe. "I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I will. I'm not going to vote for nobody who's a damn fascist. I'm not doing that. I'm not." And again, Joe, like Reverend Sharpton said the other day, and Reverend Sharpton is not just a voice for Black America, he's not. But he said it like it was. He said, "I got 2 white men running. I'm not happy about that, but it is what it is. He said, I look at the one that I got a better chance with. He said, I got to look at the one where I don't have no chance with, and I got to look at the one I got a better chance with. And when he said it like that, he called a spade a spade. He said, I'm not watering this down to y'all. I'm telling y'all what it is. I know when it comes to working with us and getting things done and holding the president's feet to the fire. Couldn't hold Trump's feet to the fire because he never talked to us. He never came to us and said, he's going to do this. So when they say blacks for Trump, y'all got to tell me blacks for Trump. Tell me the policies that he put in place or he planned to put in place. He doesn't. At least with Biden, he talks to the black community. He's implemented things. He put in policies. So for me, I have to deal. I hate to say lesser two evils, but at the end of the day, if I don't have a chance with somebody, why will I pick that when I know the store's already closed? Where if I pick the other one, I can at least walk in the store and negotiate what I need to get. I tell you, where's Django at? You know where Django at, Jax? I need Django.
He's somewhere in change.
I need Django. I mean, he done mopped up and blew up everything. So
speaking of which, let's switch gears. Jax, we have a great guest in the green room. I see him in the green room. Go ahead and tell us about this great guest that's getting ready to come on, where we can welcome him with a hashtag Truth Be Told.
Yes, this is my brother from another mother. This is my friend for, oh my God, maybe 25 years or so. So his name is Michael Mfume, out of Baltimore, Maryland. He is a real estate developer. He is a film director. Ironically, I did an ad for drug and gun violence, and he was the director of that. He had me come down and had my clothes when I was a designer in it. So I cannot wait to welcome my brother, Michael Mfume, to the show. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, welcome. How y'all doing?
Mike, welcome.
I think I missed some of the discussion. I wanted to hark back on it, but I got the tail end, and you were talking about the difference between Biden and Trump, I believe it was.
Yes, sir.
If you want to jump in, jump full force in, my friend. Welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told.
Well, thanks. So I want to say this first of all. I hear a lot. I want to go from the standpoint of folks talking about Trump, especially black folks. Trump did a lot for black folks. He my 401k is better, all these little things, right? So back in 1998, there was a group called Dead Prez. And Dead Prez said, would you rather have a Lexus or justice? And in that context, we'll have a great 401, but you won't be able to access it if Trump is there because he's going to take all your rights with Project 2025. And more importantly, everything that they're doing is against what we want. So I try to tell folks, go ahead. You're going to be in this new democracy that won't be a democracy should he be elected.
There you go.
Mr. Jax, go ahead.
Sister Jax.
Break it. It's so good to see you, Mike. I haven't seen you in forever. So
right.
It's great to see.
And we got to understand, Biden said he was going to do a lot for black folks. He promised it. He said he was going to make sure that he would get the Criminal Rights Act. He would make sure parents got $300 a month. He said he was going to make sure we build 2 million new homes in the United States. Now, with that said, it went through the Congress and it passed. We had 273 Democrats, and out of 273 Democrats, 2 people held all that up, and that was Bill Manchin.
Come on.
Okay, so he did what he was supposed to do, but it's different because as Democrats, Republicans say, "Oh, we repealed Obamacare 76 times," and to their voters, they're happy they did it in Congress. It didn't go nowhere else. But when we say, "Hey, Biden tried this," no, it didn't get passed. You got to know the laws. It has 2 things. He said he was going to do it. Go after the people who did not support it. It was 2.
Brother Mfume, let me say this. Most folks don't understand.
Mfume.
Brother Mfume. Most folks don't understand government, period. And that's the problem. We put blames on Biden and his presidency that has absolutely nothing to do with him. It has to do with who we put in the House and in the Senate. And many a times, and guess what? Our ignorance, people love that we are ignorant of how government operates. Because of that ignorance, they love to be able to use the propaganda machine to make you all mad at a person. And Malcolm said it best. The press will have you mad at the folks you're supposed to love and loving the folks that you should be your oppressor. Come on, family, wake up. Wake up. This propaganda machine has half of y'all that y'all don't even know civics. Y'all don't know what branch of government does what. That's why you're blaming Biden for stuff that Biden has absolutely nothing to do with. The price of gas, Biden has nothing to do with. Absolutely nothing to do with.
Well, I'm going to say this to you. When it comes to the gas, we should know one thing. The gas is up $3. Yeah. And they said, oh, well, Americans and Fox News, there's always Fox News. Look at the gas prices. Well, I want to go back almost 2 years ago when all of America had on their Facebook pages, Ukraine strong. You remember that? Mm-hmm. We wanted to be for Ukraine, one of the most racist countries in the world towards black folks, if not the racist. And if you add it up, 2 words, it was 2 countries that ever came that they put in the same title when it came to these 2 countries. They said Ukraine and Haiti are corrupt. Why is it now only Haiti is corrupt? Okay. So we put it on ourselves. We want to be Ukraine. We don't even talk about Ukraine. And what do they do for us? Now we're on another country, but it's not a black country we're helping.
No, and that's what I'm saying. We look at Haiti, we look at the Congo, we look at Africa. Jacks don't know this. What I'm getting, put this all back up here, Bill, please, because I want to address my brother. Jacks don't know this. I don't think you know this. If I might have mentioned it once. Brother Mfume. And the reason why I specify on this, because when I worked with the late James Mtume, some people would call him that Mfume by accident. But your father is Congressman Kweisi Mfume, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to take a moment, because we can talk these politics and I'm not taking those off the track. I want to show you how the power of protest, because Brother Mfume, he probably don't know this, and I'm going to say this, the power of protest and us working together. 1995, matter of fact, it was October 12th, 1995, in Pittsburgh. This is black man driving a Jaguar. Black man driving while black. Stopped by the police. Stopped. A tussle came out, and that man was dead. The name of that man was Johnny Gamage. And what happened after that, Pittsburgh was up in arms. They were protesting about the police, about police brutality, what was going on there. And at that particular time, they fought for it. It was a trial and this, that, and other. At the same time, Brother Mfume and team, Joe and Jax, the NAACP, after things, had proceeded, the NAACP, headed up by your pops, was going to hold their convention in Pittsburgh. We got, when I say we, at the particular time, brother, I was the producer. I'm the producer and the host of the Open Line show. Now it's on WBLS in New York City. But it was at that particular time, it was on 98.7 KISS FM, hosted by Bob Slade. They all are passed now. Late Bob Slade, James Mtume, Grammy Award musician, and attorney Bob Pickett. We connected with a radio DJ in Pittsburgh. And he was like, we're trying to get the NAACP not to come in here or to come in here and do business with black folks. They could not get the ear of the NAACP at that particular time. We jumped on board because we're in the #1 media market. We go after the NAACP. We're friends with Kweisi Mfume. This is not personal. It's about principle. We go after the NAACP. Our station, along with Pittsburgh station, calls for a national boycott of the NAACP going into Pittsburgh. It resonates. It resonates to the point your father contacts us. He wants to come on our radio show. At the same time, if you know any of the politics, there's another powerful NAACP leader in New York City called Hazel Dukes. Mm-hmm. They both come on the Open Line that morning. Kweisi Mfume comes on by phone. Hazel Dukes comes in studio. They are upset. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Who are these guys calling for a boycott on the NAACP for what we have done and continue to do for black folks? We allowed them to lay out their case, then we laid out our case. And this is what I'm talking about, how you don't take things personal, but you learn to work together. You agree to disagree, but you work together. Your father, and I applaud him, my brother, and I applaud Hazel Dukes, that we came to common ground. They said, we now understand why you call the boycott. You're right. We are hoteling in the white community. What we will do is we will now start to spend money in the black community. We will now speak up about Johnny Gamage. We will now, we got them to listen. And the point I'm making to say that is it shows that we can work together to get the common cause and the common ground. I don't think nobody on this team knew that. And I wanted to say that because I commend your father, because they were hot when they came in, brother. They were hot. When he came on that show, he was hot. Who are these guys? But, you know, we was also the ones that shook up the whole thing about when it came down to black advertising. Tavis Smiley said he was, and we had to bust him on the radio on that, because he wasn't the first one. That there was a letter that went out to Madison Avenue about not advertising with black firms. And we got the memo because our vice president at Image Broadcasting brought that to us, and we broke that story. So what I'm saying is I commend the NAACP. I commend your father. I commend you for the work that you do, especially what Jax talks about. I had to take this moment because it shows that the power of protest, but when you're working with our people that are trying to uplift our people, sometimes we just got to slow it down and listen. And you can get things to work. So kudos to your father, kudos to you. And I had to say that this morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, I want to say this. Was this before or after the Million Man March? This was after the Million Man March, right?
This is after the Million Man March.
Right. Okay.
After the Million Man March. That is correct. Mm-hmm.
So, Mike, if you can go back, let's dial back. So on our show, we talk about politics, life, and a whole bunch of different things. And I know you are a man of many, many hats. So if you could just take us back a few years, tell us a little bit about your directing and film and what exactly you do in that genre, and then we'll work forward.
Well, basically what I'm doing now at this moment, I do a lot of real estate development. I deal with properties, but mostly about mortgage notes. So about a lot of foreclosures, non-performing, ones that are just abandoned. But for my previous years, I worked with all the directors, Benny Boom, Chris Robinson, anybody, co-directed over maybe 50, 60 videos with Benny Boom. We did every video you can imagine. I started off with John Singleton. He was the person who always looked out for me. And from that point, I've been, back and forth to LA, but I had to take a pause because it's so fake. The people are so fake. The conversations, you can have a conversation today with an artist and tomorrow they signed a contract with somebody else. I'm too real. I'm from Baltimore, so that's how it is. But currently I'm working on a new project that's going to be streamed. We start filming next summer and it's called La Sombra. Yep.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
So let us know. Feel free to come back on the show when you're doing castings and things of that nature. We can share it out.
Yes.
So that's amazing. Now, what really got you into real estate development? I know you've been doing it for a while. You're always encouraging people to come to Baltimore, buy property. Tell us more about that.
It's important because, especially in Baltimore, what happens is everybody, all the news stations, they're all owned by white folks, but especially Fox 45 News. They talk about Baltimore's bad, Baltimore's bad. They said the same thing about DC. They said that so much that 10 years ago, DC was a black city. Today we almost milk chocolate. And the reason is because 10 years ago, the houses you got for 30, 40,000. Today, for a shell, you will pay close to 600,000 for. And an average home in DC right now is around 850. So now, they're saying the same thing about Baltimore, where you can find houses for 5, 10, 20, 30, 40,000. And it's basically the last hub outside of Philadelphia where you can find these cheap homes at big 2,000, 3,000 square foot homes for 50,000. Now you may have to put 100,000 in it, but you put 100,000 in a $50,000 home and the house is worth 350. And that's instant equity and wealth for black families, not only just to, flip over, but also to be able to get something else. And I'm telling people all over, I don't care what color you're, please buy a house in Baltimore City. It will pay off in dividends. Amen.
Amen. Now, if you could share with our viewers also, Mike, how do you do it? like you direct, you're in real estate, you're in politics, and you are a single dad, an amazing dad, by the way. So if you could talk to us about that.
Yeah, I have some remarkable kids. It's I don't know how to say it because I haven't ever met someone I've been blessed since my kids were 1 to be able to have full custody of them. We travel, we do as much as I can, but I always wanted to be that great dad. Anything that I wasn't able to get with my father because of him running throughout the country and working for the people, I said I wanted to make sure I put that back into my kids. And so that's what I do all day long. And now they're 16 and 17 and 8. And I'm gonna tell you something. I get more headaches and it's amazing, but it's fun. But my kids are always behind me. I told them they don't have to work anymore because they have paid their dues. My daughter was in the kitchen when we owned restaurants at the age of 8 and 10, cutting potatoes, and at the age of 12 and 13 at the fry station and running the cashier when our employees didn't show up. So they have done everything and anything. And so because of that, I've been afforded to be able to do things. And so with that, I just make it work. So I have my own time now to make my moves, but it's a lot. It's a lot of research. It's a lot of time.
So brother, I like to ask the question because just like in the community I live in Louisiana, there is blighted property everywhere. You know, and a lot of people don't know how to work with their local governmental agency to retrieve that blighted property and put it back into commerce. I see that you're doing a lot of that. And brother, I definitely want to get with Jackson, get your information where you can also bring some of your strategies down to my area. Maybe we can collaborate to speak about that to the greater good of all of our people, to understand that there are opportunities out there for minimal investment that you can really come out on top, but you've got to be able to jump into that water.
Exactly. And everybody always thinks it costs a lot of money. I tell people the first thing, it'll only cost you $300. Let's say it costs you $200. You see a house, but the research is hard. You got to find out who owns the house. Let's say we found out who owned the house. They don't want it no more. Put a contract on it for $100. That's all it costs you. And when you put your name, John Jackson, in or assigns. And from that point on, you look for somebody else who's developing in that neighborhood. You might see 3 or 4 houses being developed, and you knock on the door and say, hey, who's the owner? Who's building it? And it says, I am. It says, listen, you want another house? And you said, yeah. So you sell that house. You may only make, if you're getting it for, like, say the people owe $15,000 in taxes, at $25,000, you agreed to pay the owner $10,000, so that's $35,000. But the guy's willing to pay you $65,000 for the house. You just made $30,000 off a $100 investment. And that's what I try to push. And people they think I'm crazy. I'm like, this is how you do it. It can be 30,000, it could be 10,000, but that's more than you made. And guess what? That works. And if you're doing 1 or 2 of those a month, it adds up, and you're working for yourself.
Amen.
Let me jump in here, my brother, on piggybacking off what Joe and Sister Jack said. First of all, I commend you of being that dad and doing what you do personally for your children. And that's so important. We can't gloss over that. And, we talked about that as we approached Father's Day, a couple of weeks ago here. But I want to talk about, because you talked about Baltimore City and you talk about Chocolate City. And I remember back in, I believe it was the 90s, there was an influential community in Maryland, a Black community. And, they talked about this community. A lot of people was looking at Atlanta, but a lot of people, skip over Baltimore. And you talk about business. You got to look at Governor Wes Moore, Black man now. And, of course, he was in the news dealing with the, unfortunately, mishap at the bridge collapsing due into that cargo barge hitting it. And, they try to come at him there. But let's, as you said, Sister Jackson, to dial it back. How is it I don't know if you have worked with Wes Moore, but some of the policies, because he was a businessman first before he became the governor, but do you work when I say alongside him or some of his programs out there that has helped the community? Having a Black governor is not just by face. We know what he just did about the records of so many people that had marijuana drug charges against them. He expunged their records. But I'm talking about businesses. As a governor, a Black governor of, like you said, Chocolate City, Baltimore, that's part of Maryland. Has there been some things that you have worked with the governor directly or indirectly? And let's talk about the buildup under a leader like a Westmore in Maryland, and that affects Baltimore City.
Well, I want to say there are 23 counties in the state of Maryland, of 4 of which are predominantly Black. Maryland is 69% Black and brown. People wouldn't know that. So Governor Westmore is all over. I personally do not do anything that requires paperwork with the state or the city, only because it's just so much. I don't want to take 6 months just to be able to do something. So I do it a little differently, but there are programs. Westmore, when he first came in, Governor Moore, when he first came in, he did a session because what was happening is a certain amount of contracts were supposed to go to Black businesses. And so with the Governor Hogan, what he would do, he was give them exceptions. He would write them off so those white companies wouldn't have to get a Black company because they say, oh, we couldn't find one, and they would just give an exception to get the job done. He said, no, we're not going to do that. Y'all miss our standards. We're going to make sure this happens. So he's doing a lot, not only for the Black and brown community to make sure what was wrong is righted, but he's making sure everybody is taken care of. Whereas the last governor come in and who's now running for U.S. Senate against Angela Alsobrooke, I want to talk about him. And it was just easy. So Westmore has a lot of stuff in place. The governor has a lot of stuff in place. He's doing a lot all over the state. I just don't personally get involved. I personally know him. I think he's a great person, and he will be a president one day.
I agree, sir. I agree with that.
And if it's not a vice president, 2 president, but yes, but he's not running right now. He's being the governor, and he wraps circles around what a governor should do.
Amen.
Yes. But since we're talking about it, Hogan is running. So this is the funny thing. In Maryland, the state of Maryland, we had a Governor Hogan. In 2014, he ran. I voted for him, a Republican. I voted for him. I didn't like how the person, Anthony Brown, who was connected to Martin O'Malley, Martin O'Malley did something that I didn't like. So in politics, they say you always dance with the person who brought you to the dance.
Come on.
When Martin O'Malley was running back for mayor of Baltimore City, nobody supported him. It's one person. But my father got behind him and he won. My father said, hey, you know what? This guy's going to do it. But this is the thing. He won against my cousin who's related to my father because my cousin did something he wasn't supposed to. And I got him on. But long story short, my father walked O'Malley to the mayor's race. When O'Malley was running for governor, he said, I'm not going to support anybody. I'm not going to support Mfume. I know him and I know him. My father knew everybody and we knew a family member, and he did that. So after that, when Anthony Brown ran, I said, no, I forget you. I'm gonna show you. So we showed him, we got him in. Hogan became the governor, but he started doing things against Black people and Black wills and everything else. We had a transportation system, a red line that the governor had put $1 billion up for. If this red line would have went through, all of West Baltimore would be rich now because it would have brought up the values. They would have sent up there. But guess what? That was too much. And we were ready. They were ready to sign contracts for land that they had worked on for 6 years. But what he did do is take $2 billion and put it out into the Rich County and Montgomery County and all those rural counties, which is fine. Why take from us? But he wasn't thinking he was going to run for president. So now he's on this thing. Oh, I'm going to do it. But what happened was before the election, he was running around with all the press. I'm beating Alsobrooke, the Black woman, by 18 points. The new poll came out 2 days ago, and you don't hear none of the white media in Baltimore talking about the polls because she's now beating him by 16 points, a 36-point swing. Man, these are the things that when you have your hands on the scale and on justice, this is what happens. So yeah, we're going to win it. And then in Delaware, we have the sister in Delaware who's going to win that seat as a senator, and the first time in history. But we should also know this. In the history of the U.S. Senate, there have been 2,006 U.S. senators ever elected, and out of which only 5 have been Black.
Amen.
I just want to commend real quick. I want to commend your father for putting his hat in the ring, because I work very closely with the late Congressman Elijah Cummings, because I also produced radio for Reverend Al Sharpton. And we had a very close relationship with Congressman Cummings as well. And of course, his death, and then your father putting his hat in the ring and then succeeding him and taking that seat back. So I just want to commend your father for putting his hat in the ring and picking up the mantle where Congressman Elijah Cummings left it when, unfortunately, on his untimely death.
Yeah.
And Brother Mfume, I like to say, you know, the state of Maryland has a dear place in my heart. If I ran to my dining room right now, hanging over my dining table is a nice little, actually 2 little degrees from College Park. So, you know, I know how it feels to be to be a Terrapin. So,
Right.
you know, at the end of the day, what I want to say is you're right. You know, a lot of people don't know how black Maryland is. A lot of people really don't know how black Maryland is. Maryland is black, blackity black, black.
And the reason for the DMV, and this is what Project 2025 wants to go and take away.
Come on, talk to
It's
us.
because Maryland, DC, Virginia has a black middle class that was started by the federal government. And those federal jobs have been playing black folks forever. And this is why we have such a concentrated effort around here. So now you see all these big, beautiful big homes. I mean, they can't build them, but they work for them. They have worked for them. They pass it on to their generations.
Amen.
But that's what Trump people can't stand. See, so they're not going to tell you that. So that's why they got upset. We wanted to send the FBI building, not from to PG County where it was awarded, but we wanted to send it to Virginia. And listen, I wanted it to come to PG County, but I realized something. If you bring that, like you brought Amazon to Virginia, the property values go up.
Correct.
That means all of a sudden we're priced out. Where are we going to go next?
We got to have the word affordable. See, we have to have affordable housing. See, affordable housing that we can afford. And you have to see, too many times people always talk about, oh, you know, you need to have this type of housing. No, you need to have housing that is affordable to the individuals by the incomes that they have in the area that you're putting the housing in.
Correct.
Yep, the AMI, we talked about that before, the average median income of that community, not of the city, not of the state, but of that community.
Now, if we're talking about that community, we're talking $145,000. Amen. Now, if we're talking about in Baltimore City, where I'm buying property and a lot of investors are doing it, and the average home is selling for about $240, where 10 years ago it's selling for $240, but 10 years ago a rehab home in the same area where you could get $125. But if it was in the same house, the same pattern, and a white community was getting $350, we had erased all our wealth. We didn't have no wealth. So now I'm telling investors, and I tell myself, listen, I'm glad we don't have to get 125. We can get 250, 275, but we don't want to outprice ourselves. We want to keep it affordable that we can stay in the neighborhood. We have a great community. The kids, the blight is gone, and we can live. And that's what we have to strive for. And that's what I work for, affordable. And that's what we're getting ready to build. I have a restaurant in Baltimore. They're going to be mad when they find out. It's called the Lake Trout, the Roost. We're getting ready to knock that down, and we're putting a 10-story apartment building on it for affordable homes.
And brother Mfume, and that goes back to what I always talk about, a living wage. That's where we have to understand a minimum wage is not a living wage. And we have to understand this too. You can't up wages and up inflation at the same time, because all you're really doing is balancing out the equation. If you pay me $5 more than you paid me last year, but you double the inflation, actually I'm getting paid more, but I can't do as much with the more than I could do with the less. And once again, that's how the propaganda machine puts us in a corner where, oh, you're not doing better now than you were 5 years ago, because they don't tell you secretly when they raise the wages, they raise also inflation and the cost of products and services.
And the cereal boxes got smaller.
Come on.
Okay. Everything that you were getting, it was like, and that's what happens. Every time we have one of these things, it gets small and goes up more. Okay. I used to get a big box of Klondike bars. I pay for half of them now and triple the money. So that's what happens. And but a lot of us are uneducated and we don't understand. And so right now, the housing market in Maryland and anywhere else, is it's good. But I'm telling folks, you know, if you can now buy the house now when nobody's buying, it's 240. When those interest rates go down 2%, it's going to be back up to 350. And it's not because the owner asked for it, it's because everybody bidded it up. So we got to stop that. And I want to say this. If a lot of us would just say, take the time, you know what, I'm going to go get her fixer up. I'm going to tell you the story. My kids and I was getting a house. It was, the guy was going to, he had $2 million in loans on it. 10 bedrooms, 8.5 baths, basketball court, and a pool, and a basketball court in the basement. 13,000 square feet. The problem is, I loved it so much, I cleaned it up and I moved my kids in. The problem is, it was tore up from the floor, and we remodeled as we lived in it. And the point was, everybody came and said it had potential, and I said, no, it has more than potential. This is beautiful. This is a beautiful place. And long story short, put $250,000 in it and then sold it for $1.8 million.
That's
Amen, Mike.
And you sit there and you try, and I'm not trying to say I told you so, but right now we're sitting on so much wealth, but we don't know our wealth, because right now the wealth is telling us on TV we got to get some Gucci and we got to wear this, and I got to get this ugly gray truck that everybody wants. Before you get an ugly gray truck that a racist is putting out, go put that money in something that you can build. But you're so worried about what people thinking about you. Yeah, no, I'm good. If I see, for the first time, I saw one of those things ride past me, and I said, if I had a chance, no. The first thing I do is I send that damn thing to the aluminum foil factory and get my money back.
Preach, my brother, preach. Listen, brother, wake these brothers and sisters up, because too many times we don't understand what real wealth is. We do not understand what real wealth is and how to transfer that wealth for future generations. We too busy caught up in self. Man, you're wealth building not only for you, but for your children's children. Man, let me give you a round of applause.
What I'm building, and what I tell folks, what I'm doing is not for me, it's for my great-great-grandkids. I want them to look up one day on the wall and be like, my great-grandfather knew what he was doing. When I see families leave 26 houses to a family and they don't know what to do and it's about to, they'll lose it. And I said, your father was a visionary. Your father was a visionary, but God bless you. Okay? Because they don't know what to do. They don't understand us. But we got to do this for our generations coming. I don't know what we're going to have after this election. We might have to start over. Yeah. But we'll see.
Well, brother, go ahead. Go,
Jax, because you haven't got in yet.
So, question for you. So, for people who perhaps maybe the mother, the grandmother, grandfather passed away and left them property, right? Many times, you know how it goes in the urban communities. We end up even losing that property that was passed down to us. So, if you can just dial back and talk a little bit about if some of our viewers right now are left in a position where they can inherit a home or leave a home for their children, what would you suggest the next step should be?
A parent, so someone told me, who I've known for 30 years, I said, the parents died, and I said, I'm buying a house. You can't buy a house. The first thing is, if your parent or a family member or grandma passed away, God bless their souls, you have to open up an estate. And if it's a mother, then the son, and if it's 4 brothers, everybody signs to the state and somebody signs who will be the personal representative. 95% of the properties that I buy that are in foreclosure is because the family did not open up an estate, or if a estate was open, it was opened up by the bank. The bank opened it up to let everybody know that the person has passed away, file your claims against the state, and we're going to foreclose. And those banks don't look out for those people. So the key thing, especially black folks in Baltimore, I'm going to speak about, especially poor black folks, white folks, they don't look out for us. So what happens is you open up an estate. And once you open up the state and you're the personal representative, you get to be able to dictate how you're going to do it. If you're going to keep it, you're going to sell it, you're going to reinstate the loan, make sure the loan payments get paid. But I'm dealing with a house right now. The mother has been passed away since 2012. The family has been living in the house for the last 12 years, haven't paid a payment. The mother only owed $1,000 of debt. Right now it's at 15 with 15,000 at interest. And I'm sitting here like, what are y'all doing? So I'm about to give them, I opened up I showed them how to open up the state, get everything going and the processes, but it shouldn't take 14 years. And sometimes these things only take 5 years and the state takes it. So it's very important that, yes, if a family member pass away, you're able to open up estate. If you have any relationship to that family member, you can open up the estate. Maybe the sister or the daughter didn't want to do it. If the cousin comes and open up the estate, that's fine. You need a death certificate and paperwork to show that you're related. But outside of that, that's how you do it. That's it.
Great. Absolutely. Now, what about for those viewers in terms of their credit? They may be concerned about, oh, I don't have good credit. What can you suggest to them to do, to whether it be to repair their credit, or what should their credit look like approximately to purchase a home?
Well, they have a lot of programs. I mean, as long as you're over 600, you have tax returns for 3 years and you got some money saved in a bank. They have ways. I mean, you may have to get into a high interest rate loan and get yourself together. In 2 years, you come back and refi when it's down to maybe 4 or 5%. But the key thing is to be able to stay into the house. And I don't get into the details of the financing as far as the buyer. I'm more of, they want it, they already been approved. So, but it's a lot of programs, and it's a lot of programs for first-time buyers that are put, and in Baltimore City will put $40,000 down on your house that you don't have to pay for. And there are programs, if you just take the course, they teach you, the course is to teach you how to be a homeowner. And you take it for 2 or 3 weeks online, they will bring $25,000 to the settlements. They just have to look at, it's just simple as going online and looking up money for first-time buyers, grants for first-time buyers. And it's out there all day.
That's right. And that's in a lot. That's in a lot of states as well.
Yes,
that people don't
yes.
realize.
Let's talk a little bit about this, and even if you are not experiencing it in your community, let's talk a little bit about this. Gentrification. Because growing up in Brooklyn and watching some of the neighborhoods, and I watch how a lot of these neighborhoods fall to the wayside, and they're usually our neighborhoods. And the folks in the business area cannot get the loans. The value of the property is down. So you don't have resources coming into the community. But then all of a sudden, when white folks come in and they have, let's be real, in a poverty type situation, a community, and then white folks come into the community, some of their incomes are a little higher. They start to invest in the community. Now the businesses get the bank loans and they get the resources. Now they bring the value up in that community, and now it becomes a thriving community. And the reason why I ask you this, because there's a lot of obstacles that are against a lot of us out there in our communities. And you got to realize if there's crime, if there's poverty, and the community is not thriving, it's not good for that community and neighboring communities. But let's just talk about the pitfalls, because some people, they look at it for what it is, but they don't realize how it has happened. And then when gentrification comes in, yes, you want a community to thrive. You want to be able to walk through this community and be safer and whatever, and you see the businesses thriving. But who's been replaced? It's been us. And when we're not taught, or we're living check to check, or we have more people on the system, if we can't put the resources in the community. Talk a little bit about that from whatever perspective you want.
Well, that's the main key focus that I'm watching, is making sure what we're doing in Baltimore, we don't outprice ourselves. And if we don't do that, we know that we can make it. But right now, there are cities like Philadelphia, you can have a drug strip. Excuse me for looking to the back. I'm trying to see what the court ruled on. But it's happening so fast. Their folks are moving in, buying an in unit, because the in unit is the most expensive unit, and the in unit will tell you how the block will. So you got the hood of all hoods, and this one guy just built a $250,000, remodeled it $250,000, but it's now worth to him $650,000. But the average house on the block is $50,000, and they're saying, in the words they're saying, "Oh, I ain't worried about it because they ain't going to be here too much longer." So when we see that, we got to go in, but we're so afraid to go in, do some work.
Yeah.
Okay. I told you could make 100,000 if you did this on one project, but you know what? You did the work. You had headaches. It didn't take you 3 months. It took you 7 months, but you made 70,000. Why are you mad at me?
Mm-hmm.
That's more than you made in the last 2 years. Why are you mad at me?
Mhm.
Okay, put together you and your girlfriend. So what I'm saying to you is, we put the work in. We always want something there. I know we had 400 years of working hard. Please, let's put the work in now. This is our communities. And
But are we taking the opportunity that we have this kind of influence here? They don't teach us the civics. They don't teach us this in the economics in school. I'm talking about high school. Why are we not learning these type of things? Or if we're not learning, what could be put back or implemented into the school system? Not when you get to college and take this as an elective. Why are we not learning this? Why are we not putting community centers and then have classes for this to do this type of work?
Mhm.
that's the irony. So like I say, I traveled around the world, but when I told my kids, so what we do now is when we travel, we take other kids who don't have that opportunity. And each one teach one. It's very hard, and you got to go all the way to a system, and it's just so much. So it's what we have to do. And like you said, community center. So inside the place we're building, we have a community center that now has a vegan store, health food store, but it also has a community health center. So 2 or 3 days a week, people can come get free healthcare. And these are the things that we have to do for ourselves to be able to better ourselves. So until they do it or they get implemented to do it, it's about us. We have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see no way in the gentrification. It's hard to tell people, hey, the flood is coming. I've been back in the day, they said, hey, it's going to be a big flood. We need everybody, 2 animals, 2 horses, meet me here. We're going to get on this ark. We're going to go, but it's going to be a flood. They're not listening. They're thinking about the party next year. They're thinking about 4th of July party. You know, getting their outfit together. Oh, I got to get my hair done. I'm taking this. But they're not thinking that the court today is going to rule if Trump can send in Team SEAL 6 and kill Biden and be free. And I'm going to tell you something. If they rule on that today or tomorrow, which they should have already ruled on it, and they say that Trump can send in the SEAL to kill Biden, and that he wouldn't be pressed charges, then I would say tonight or tomorrow at the debate, that team of officers should be outside the debate, getting somebody else coming inside that door.
Right. So, and that's what we're not paying close attention to, Brother Mfume, that there are things going on. And that's why I say you got to watch who you put in office. We've got to, whoever convinced us that our vote wasn't worth a flip, that person was a genius, because your vote is your voice and it has power, and who we put in office does matter. To be exact, in my mind, here's what I was hearing the whole time you were talking. What you do now matters later. Yes. What you do now matters later. And sometimes we don't realize that what we do now matters 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years down the road.
We will understand. It won't be until some of us won't ever understand. The key thing is that we have a lot before us. I hope that they rule that the president does not have full immunity or any immunity at all. But we have to start to learn law. So we have men caves, but we don't have studies no more. You know, we used to have books around us. Now we got all these jerseys, but no books. And they say, if you want to hide it from a Black person, put it in a book. I'm writing a psychological thriller. And what happens is they come into this, the 2 o'clock in the morning, all the Secret Service, everybody you can imagine, they're inside of this one house on this one abandoned block. And the key thing is that people walk in with white robes and they're talking. And the 2 characters, the Black guy and the other main white character, come in and they say, what's going on? And they said, well, listen, we had a problem with Russia and China trying to steal our secrets. So what we decided to do is hide all the secrets in the book and put them inside the hood. And they said, well, why would you do that? They said, well, because we know nobody would come and steal the books. And so the white officer said, well, you're wrong. They came in and they stole the books. And the other guy goes, no, they didn't steal the book. They stole the microwave.
Oh, God. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. And you know what? It's so unfortunate. Like, even like yesterday, right? I was at I took my son to Barnes and Noble, and so that he could get some books. So it's so important, like you said, for our kids to read. He got this one, this Trevor Noah one, right?
Right.
He got this one, Black Kids, Friday Night Lights. You know, it's important for these
That's-
kids, you know, to read. They gotta read. I spent nearly $100 on these books. But you know what? Some parents that spend nearly $100 or more on the damn pair of sneakers that get busted out and rolled over and outgrown.
Excuse me,
you know, a couple months.
those are cheap sneakers. They don't buy.
Yeah, I know.
They want 3 or 4. I remember the guy, what's his name? God bless his soul. The great guy. Anyway, he said that parents will go to church and they would put $5 into the offering tray, but then they would go to the stores and buy $200 Nikes for their kids. But then what would happen is they'll come back when their sick kids are getting sick and dying. They'll run to the Bible and say, "Dear Lord, please help me." Yeah. And he said, "No, don't preach to those. Don't pray to those Bibles. Pray to those sneakers."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dick Gregory. Yeah. He said, "Pray to those."
Yeah, and that's a brother I would run into in Maryland in print because I also work for Urban One, TV One, which is out there in Silver Springs, Maryland, and I would run into the late Dick Gregory, and we would just sit out there on the benches and just talk. Yes, brother, that's it, right on point. Yeah, and Sister Jax, kudos. I gave you the bell because you know when I'm talking about books, you know I keep books all around and talking about the children that I've been reading since I don't know junior high school in the sense of buying books or going to not buying books, libraries back then, and then buying books. But yes, we put our priorities, Brother Mfume, Jackson, Joe. We put our priorities in the wrong place. But we also have to talk about this. Brother Mfume, we talk about post-traumatic slavery syndrome, and we look at that or the effects of slavery, and we look at the effects of it from the point of our adversary having control on us, but we don't also look at how it has a control, not to say a control, but how we relate to one another and how we relate. For instance, I mean, a lot of us that are living paycheck to paycheck or a couple of paychecks away from being homeless, and a lot that didn't have, there's a mindset that I want to have. I want to be like the next person. And we got to understand the power of that. You want to dress well. I came up, I had my first pair of Pumas in fifth grade, and I'll give you the year. It was a while back ago. I earned those Pumas. I earned them from bringing good grades. So my parents say, if you do this, you can get this. You understand? But sometimes we want to give our children the best, but we tend to put it in our priorities in the wrong place. For my daughters, I didn't mind buying them Tims. I didn't mind buying them Jordans, but they had to earn that. And I was able to get that for them, but I just wasn't going to give that to them if they didn't earn it. And that's the difference. We don't teach our children value. We put our priorities in the wrong place, and then we teach it to our children. And then when our children go off the rails, we ask, what did we do wrong?
That's right. And that's so right, because like with the misplaced values, you'll have a parent that will buy, or caregiver will buy sneakers for a child, like you said, Mike, $200-300 sneakers, but yet your child is in the 8th grade or 9th grade, but they read on a 2nd grade level. You can get a tutor for half that price. You know what I'm saying? And so we definitely have to, place our values differently. And it cracks me up because I know how you are, Mike. So it cracked me up when you said instead of getting the book, they got the microwave. So that is some ninja-ish.
Right.
So, like, that's funny as hell. That is really funny. I can't wait to see the film when it comes out.
Yeah. I pray for us. But someone recently told me it's a lot of crime happening. Well, a lot of things happening with these little teenagers, right? Especially 13, 14, 15, all DC, all DMV, they're stealing cars. I don't know how they are able to learn how to drive a car at 13 as good as they drive. But the point of it is, I was talking to them about with all the things that they're doing. I just saw a whole bunch of kids running on top of a subway train in New York outside as it's going 50 miles an hour. Oh, yeah. And they're running on it. And I'm sitting here like
subway surfing. Yeah.
And I'm sitting, and she told me quite simple. We're going through a real life game of GTA right now.
Oh yeah, That's exactly what it is.
Because that's what they do on GTD. They go bounce off of one thing, and we're dealing with a lot of the crack babies now.
Yes.
Okay.
Which destroyed whole families back in the
Yeah.
day when heroin was out. Sometimes it may not destroy the whole family, but what crack came in, and being in Brooklyn, being in New York City and seeing it, but it was not just located there in just New York City, across the country, but urban America, it ripped families apart.
DC, Maryland did terrible. All the blights you see, because what happened was they was like, we're going to lock the ninjas up. We're going to lock up the person who sold it and the person who bought it. So we locked up the mother and we locked up the son. Okay, so I bought it and you locked me up, put me in jail, and you destroy our household. Nobody can pay the bills. Grandma's up. It destroyed all of us, decimated the Black community. But now we say we have to have compassion for those who live in the cul-de-sacs and in rural areas, and God bless them, because
with the opioids.
So
right.
we gotta love them. Now in Baltimore, in Maryland, this is state law. If you are caught using, you're okay using a drug. But if somebody's having an OD in front of you and you don't report it, you can go to jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And you know, Mike, same thing with weed, same thing with marijuana. Back in the day, it was classified as a certain scheduled drug. And now that they can make a profit off of it, now it's legal. But before they would preach how it damages your body, your reproductive system, your brain, all this other stuff. But now it's wonderful, it's legal. You know, dispensaries every day. My son goes to school in Massachusetts in a rural ass area, and it's still dispensaries all throughout there. And I'm like, damn, ain't nothing but
in the gas stations. In the gas stations.
Yeah, in the gas stations, absolutely.
Brother Mfume, if you really be honest, and I say this all the time on this program, the systems and the products and the services that are supposed to be in place to help elevate our community are lacking in our community. We have food deserts, we have non-ownerships by us in our own community. Everything that was meant to be put in place by law to help rise our communities out of poverty are seldom to be found. But everything we need to make us kill ourselves is there. The guns are there. The bad foods are there. The high in sodium foods are there. The bodegas with all the bull in it is there. Everything is there to kill us, but ain't really any resources there to help us elevate ourselves and pull ourselves up out the Maury clay. And that's sad. That's sad. And then we have the audacity to look and say, and here's the crazy thing. We need to stop waiting for other folks to come save us. We need to save ourselves.
Yeah. And you know what, Joe, it's unfortunate that even if there were opportunities for healthier eating or, just even opportunities to go someplace or do something different, many times our people suffer from oppositional defiance. And just because they're told or shown another way, they don't want to do it. I mean, even when my husband and I took a group of kids camping last week, there was one Black girl. It was all, Hispanic, but we're all still the same. But it was, all Hispanic families, but only one Black girl. Because guess what? All the other Black parents wouldn't sign a permission slip, wouldn't let their children go because they feel, I don't go camping. What we going in the woods for? I don't go in the woods. You don't need to go. All this nonsense. So, and all this fear. So they don't let their children be exposed and experience new things, whereas they need the opportunity so that they can grow and learn and see something different. But because of many times within our community, the biases and issues that the parents have, they stifle and paralyze the potential of their children by not letting them explore and try new things.
Exactly. Let me read a couple of comments here. Mashawn Bain says, what's the solution? Eddie Bonner says, where did that come from? Brother Mfume. Eddie Bonner said, call that out, brother. Eddie Bonner comes say they legalize what they lock us up for. Rhonda says, exactly, Brother Fatine, crack destroyed families. Maxine Waters brought out the disparities between sentences of people who sold crack cocaine versus powder cocaine to help change the law as far as Blacks go. And in New York, we had the Rockefeller drug laws where people fought against those. But there was a comment, and I'm not gonna. It seems like Eddie Bonnet was alluding to this. I'm not sure, but we go back to the crime bill. The crime bill. So we go back to the crime bill,
94,
dealing with crack, and this is what I'm saying. I'm not making no excuses because We know what they put inside the crime bill. Joe Biden signed off on that crime bill. He's now apologized for that crime bill.
My father signed that bill.
There you go. See?
Right, hold it. And Joe Biden wasn't the only person that signed off
Exactly.
on
He
the crime
wasn't.
bill. We need to talk about everybody.
Right.
Everybody who signed.
Yeah, but
off
it's not.
on it.
It's just not about. The point I'm making is Joe Biden apologized for that. Your father signed the crime bill. I needed to check with Maxine Waters because I'm not sure if she signed the crime bill. What I'm saying is we had a problem on our hand that we really didn't come up with a great solution to deal with that problem. You got to see that government, sometimes we got different people from different communities that makes up government. They don't understand, especially our community at large at times. So you got to realize that they paint it with a broad brush. For instance, Brother Mfume, Jackson, Joe, when they say zero tolerance in schools, when there's fighting, it doesn't matter if the kid is being bullied. If he or she fights back or throws a punch, they all get suspended. They don't know how to deal with the problem. They don't know how to deal with the crime. They don't know how to deal with the crack. We got more powerful drugs. Fentanyl is not the most powerful drug out there now, but they don't know how to do it. But they put out legislation to broad brush it, but then you don't deal with the effects of how to get people on treatment and how to get them off of that. You just lock them up at the end of the day. And that's what the biggest problem. And that's why we go around like a hamster on that wheel, because we don't understand the problem and we don't know how to put certain things in place to deal with this problem, to get these people off of this dependency, the physical dependency, but there's also a mental aspect. And now we got mental health issues on top of that. Abundance of that, and then we close so many hospitals that have mental wards there that we made the problem worse, but we don't understand it, and then we complain about, well, the Democrats this and this, that, and the other, but the bottom line is, how did we get here, and how do we get out of it? Brother Mfume.
Brother Mfume.
That's deep. I don't know. I can tell you that they looked at what happened with the 94 crime bill and how Black folks were affected and how it destroyed us. And we all came with the compassion to say, well, now we're going to make sure people get the help that they need. We're going to make sure we support the drug users and get them back onto a clean path. But it's hard. The people won't, the politicians that know that if it hurts anybody, it'll hurt us. So before fixing us, they won't even deal with themselves. When they could let 22 white babies be killed in Connecticut and not change one law, because it would, if they changed the law, it would help us just a little bit. We're not going to change it. We're going to leave it there.
That part.
That's right. Bro.
That part right there.
So it's upon us that we have to fight locally throughout different communities to get the beds, to get the extra. If we can build all these great things, why cannot we build 100-bed unit in every community to be able to put these people in who really want the help? Why are we waiting for beds for drug addicts, waiting for beds outside of a drug addict clinic and getting served up because they weren't able to get into where they need to be at? And so they use the excuse, a Black person just knocked somebody upside the head in New York, but we're straight. A white person do the same thing. We need to get them help.
There you go.
We got to get away from that colorism, and we got to understand people need help. Mental illness is serious, no matter what. I think if we do anything now, and my daughter suffered from mental illness. I didn't know. I didn't know. And during the pandemic, I found out, and it was serious. And I'm an advocate that I don't care what color the child is, but starting from the third grade up, don't have a counselor. Every child should have a therapist they can talk to. Okay? However we got to do it, let's get something in place, because if we don't, we can't say, Uncle Charlie is crazy no more. Uncle Charlie is fine. It's the rest of the damn family that's crazy.
Right.
There you go, brother.
See, Brother Mfume, here's what we really have to understand. And it is the hypocrisy. We can send all this money to Ukraine. We can send all this money to Gaza, to Israel. We can send all this. We can send all this money all over the world, but we can't send money into the urban areas to help the Black and brown folks that are here, who are the ancestors of the people who helped build this country and make it what it is. That is a shame. And that is the hypocrisy that, if we're not careful with the propaganda machine, will make us wake up on November the 6th and they will be swearing in Donald J. Trump as president of the United States again.
Yeah.
I say this. I like to be fair when I do things. So I say this. You send $1 billion right now into Baltimore City just for them to deal with their mental illness. And I want you to send $1 billion to the poorest neighborhood, white neighborhood, rural neighborhood in West Virginia. Because when we can be fair about it and understand that, hey, why are we giving $100 billion to Israel? And after they destroy Gaza, said, I could see if they
genocide right. On a people.
So Biden is in a hole when it comes to that place. I want to speak on that for a second. It's an election year. Netanyahu is playing Biden to the left. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Correct.
And right now, if Biden looks like he's faltering, Biden wants this war to be over. He wanted it to be over a long time ago. But because of the president over there, they're playing this game with him. Let's give him the money, but let's not give Gaza $100 million. It's going to take 23 years to rebuild that place. And if you said you're going after the soldiers, why are you destroying the schools? Why are you destroying apartment buildings? Why are you destroying the infrastructure? Why? Why did you have to drop a 2,000 pound bomb in a neighborhood with kids? Why?
Because they want the land.
Exactly. Now, listen, I don't think it's right for they started the war. The war was started. They killed, they raped, they pillaged. It was wrong. But 1,400 people killed, and you come and kill 53,000 Palestinians, and you said it's the cost of war, and we need this. Really? What if we did that in one white neighborhood in America and 2 white people were killed? It wouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. And we got to understand that it's deep, and they're playing all sides of it. And if the Muslim and I love the Muslim community, I respect them. I was fighting, but the Muslim community saying Biden doesn't support us. Let's go back. Did we forget the Muslim ban? When every week we were at an airport or we were at a courthouse fighting. What Biden is boring, because I'm going to tell you why. When the week before Trump got into office, I started protesting. I was protesting before, after. I was there in DC. I haven't gone to a protest in the last 4 years, 3.5 years. Why? Because he was doing what he was supposed to. But guess what? Let Trump come in. You're going to see a Muslim ban. You're going to see a real ban.
Oh, absolutely.
The end of democracy is there, because that's what Project 2025 does. It separates the U.S. government from D.C. It puts him in different counties and different red states. The same ones that's going to say and do whatever he wants, those are the people who are going to control the U.S. And then what we're going to say.
Well, let me ask you this.
Top of the hour.
Let me just say this, and I know Jax is back because of Wi-Fi, so Jax, you can follow right after me, is that let's talk a little bit about Biden and the Democrats. And when I say Biden and the Democrats, because sometimes you have to separate this, because I've been speaking with different Democrat strategists. One is Antoine Seawright. You see him all over CNN, MSNBC. He's a personal friend. He's also on Reverend Sharpton's show. He was on Monday. And I said, brother, the DNC headed up the DNC. I have a problem with who's heading up the DNC because they don't get the messaging right. You don't just rely on the White House to get the messaging out. The DNC is an arm of the Democratic Party to get the messaging out. We should not have to try to get the messaging out to the Black community honestly, in the last quarter of this voting year, to talk about what some of the things that the Biden administration has gotten right and has done. That's horrible right there. Number 2, on President Biden, sometimes the Democratic Party and the Biden administration are more reactionary than proactive. And that right there, for instance, when he got all these non-committed votes in the primary, now all of a sudden he wants to address the Muslim and Arab community. When you went out to Michigan, which is a swing state, where the Muslim and Arab Americans say, we may not vote for you now because of the situation of this Gaza-Israel war or genocidal war. Now, all of a sudden, you come out. I do know that the Republicans and the Democrats bipartisan worked on a border bill, but because of Trump's influence, had the Republicans pull back and kill the bill. But Biden had no other choice but to put an executive order to deal with the border. But is it a little too late? Because it seems like we're reactionary there. So, Brother Mfume, because like we say, and I'm not going, you know, like I've said before, I ain't going to use the bird thing about the left wing and the right wing.
Right.
But like I've said, the Republicans will rob the bank, but the Democrats will drive the getaway car. The Democrats' hands are not clean as well. How can the Democrats do a better job with messaging? And how can the Biden administration, I mean, we look where we're at in a sense of being proactive. He could have definitely come tougher on Benjamin Netanyahu a little earlier. He could have definitely dealt with, you got to realize in the situations in urban America, your city, New York City, and across America, you look at the migrants that have come in. While we have a homeless crisis here. And then people here in America say, I fought for this land. I'm homeless, but I'm watching migrants go in the hotel and I'm still on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of Democratic cities, my brother.
Yeah,
let's call it a spade a spade.
Yeah, that's not a good look. I don't like that. Just the same thing in Harlem. So if you're going to open up some places in Harlem for them, let's work it together. But what we must not do is separate black and brown. That's what they're trying to do, is divide us.
Correct.
So the key thing is that part where, hey, you're giving shelter to the people just coming in and not the people, I don't care, but that's wrong. But to say that Hispanics are coming in and taking black men's jobs, I can tell you this, I'm not going out and cut no highway grass today. I'm not going to pick no strawberries tomorrow. I'm not going to be on a roof and I'm not going to be on the side of a 200-story building wiping it down. They're not taking out jobs. These are jobs that need to be filled to be able to keep this economy going. Now, there are some things that just don't look right. You're bringing in all these people. First of all, I don't mind the people coming in. The browner this country becomes, I'm happier. Okay, that's what they're afraid of. But the thing is, it has to be a process and an order. And yes, it's not happening right now. But the key thing is that we must remember that the optics got to look right, and the optics are not looking right in Chicago, and they're not looking right in different places where you're letting people come in. I don't know what to say. I just hope they get it right. It's not too late, and we will squeak through it. This election, we can squeak through it, but it's going to be tough. Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Mr. Jax?
No, you're so right. And you know what, Mike? You did a phenomenal job. I truly appreciate you coming on today, sharing your wisdom and your knowledge with our viewers. And, with us as well as a panel. You did a phenomenal job. We're wishing you much success. We're about to wrap up. It's time to close. So before we close, we just want to ask you if you have any closing words you'd like to share.
Oh, I just want to say thank you very much. And thank you all for presenting the dialogue. And it's like that y'all didn't feel, but right now you are filling the shoes and taking over the process of where Joe Madison, God rest his soul.
Oh, the Black Eagle, baby, the Black Eagle.
And this is important because we have to have discussions, and we have to, my cousin Jamal Bryant, Pastor Jamal Bryant, he says, iron sharpens iron. And this is what y'all are doing when y'all out here, this is what you're doing. You're provoking the minds. You're making people think. You're not making them, you're having them think. And this discussion. It starts here. This is where it starts at. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. It was with your cousin in April at the National Action Network, and I've known him when he was down in Maryland, dealing with the situation where I can't call his name, that really the police situation with police.
Freddie Gray.
Yeah, Freddie Gray, and also Sister Marilyn Mosby, another personal friend, and we've been talking about her situation. I'm good friends with Attorney Ben Crump. And we see her situation. I didn't want to get into that today because we covered that. But brother, thank you, man. You did a tremendous job. Good to meet you. Jax, again, great job, because I know his father, but I never got a chance to meet the son. And I am just so proud to know you, my brother. And thank you for coming on here. Great job.
Thank you all for having me. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Thank you so much, Mike.
Yeah, Mike, we appreciate you, man. This hopefully will not be exact. I'll tell you, as the as the executive producer, this won't be the last time you'll be on the show, man. We need you back. We need your wisdom. We need your voice to be heard. And we need to continue to pour into our people information that they can rise from the miry clay that we've been placed into.
Amen. Thank you.
All right, brother.
Yes.
All right.
And you know
there
what?
go.
My closing words for today, it actually is also highlighting my brother Mike. It's a scripture from Proverbs 13:22, and it reads, "A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of sinners is laid up for the just." So as we prepare in life, we have to make sure that we do everything in our power to make sure we leave an inheritance, not only for our children, but for our children's children, because that is a law from the Most High. So if nobody's told you today that they love you, know that Jax loves you. Thank you for tuning in. I can't wait to see you all tomorrow. Lord's will, we'll be back at it again, having some more fun. Love y'all. See you tomorrow.
Brother Fatim, give me some closing words.
I'll just say this, Joe says, and I say this, and this is not a knock at Joe, but but Joe said, I can't tell people who to vote for. I can. The team can. I vote for people who are going to invest in our community. When the doors automatically close and when they line up symbolic Black folks to kiss the ring, but there's no policy in there for them Black folks to even be there, but just to be seen, but they're not to be heard, then I can't put my eggs in that basket and vote for. So that's what I'm saying. The people that invest in our community, the people that is willing to have dialogue with us, and the people that continue to look at us as not as props, but look at us as people that we can have a conversation with. But when we do vote them in office, you got to realize once you pull that level, it's not another 4 years where you have a conversation with them and their administration. You have to hold them accountable. You have to hold them accountable. And if they're not, then you put somebody else in office that is talking about doing the job. I can't see in this presidency that Trump is not talking with us. He's talking at us. How can Trump go to a quote unquote Black church with more white people bust into that Black church in Detroit last week and then go to a racist rally after? That's what he thinks of you. So yes, Brother Fatim is telling you, Joe Biden is not the perfect candidate. No, he's not the perfect candidate, but he's a candidate that gives us a chance, gives us not only a chance, but gives us a conversation. And we've met in the middle on some of the issues that we needed to get done and have got done by his administration. Those are my final words.
Wow. Big show today. Big show. Big show. Be exact, it's making me change something that I was going to do. So, man, it was a big show and a deep show, because today, and I'd like to thank Sister Jax for bringing Brother Michael Mfume on here to elevate you. It was elevation today. It was an elevation day today. It was knowledge. Once again, I'm not here to tell you how to think. I'm here to tell you, you need to start to think. Research it for yourself and know what's best for you and yours. Let me end as I always end. Be better today than you were yesterday. Do something today in some shape, form, or fashion. I don't know how that happened. Do something today that no matter what you do, no matter who you help, there's no earthly way that they can pay you back. And always remember that there is no secret, absolutely no secret, what God can do. What he has done for others, he will and he can do for you. For when God is with you, nothing or no one can stand against you. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Turn Up Thursday. Turn down for what? I had to play this one because we all need some liberation. I'm up out of here. Y'all have a good day. Peace.
There's a fine line, so baby, I'm on it. Yeah. There's a fine line between love and hate. You see, can't wait too late, but baby, I'm on it. There's a fine line between love and hate. You see, can't wait too late, but baby, I'm on it. Can't worry about See, that's liberation, and baby, I want it. Can't worry about what another nigga think. Now that's liberation, and baby, I want it. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. How many times I sit back and contemplate, I'm fresh off the thing when I'm telling my story. My relationship with my folks is give and take, and I done took so much, now giving my glory. To have a choice to be who you want to be is left up to me, and my mama them told me. I say to have a choice to be who you want to be is left up to me, and my mama them told me. I'm so tired, been so long struggling, hopelessly settling for the day. I sacrifice every breath I breathe to make you believe I give my life away. Oh Lord, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. My feet feel like I walk most of the road on my own. All on my own. We alive, but we ain't living. That's why I'm giving up till it's gone. Cause I don't wanna be alone. I don't wanna be alone. I don't wanna be alone. If anything I can say, if I ain't ready, touch your soul, make it whole. It's safe for you and I. But I can feel it in the wind, get it on the end. But people keep your head to the sky.
Shake the load off, 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 shake the load off.